Himself out on Louisiana.
I'm Brenda Blackman. The hunt is over.
This Channel 9 News with Rollin Smith, Lloyd Lindsay Young's weather, and Russ Salzberg on sports.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this early edition of Channel 9 News. Hurricane Andrew is history tonight, but it left its wake death and destruction. Andrew slammed into the heart of Louisiana today, pounding towns and fields with all of its fury. In Florida, they're still picking up the pieces, and damage there could be $15 billion. Hurricane Andrew has been downgraded to a tropical storm now. Toria Tully is standing by live in Louisiana with the latest. Toria.
Residents are now coming back tonight to their homes, but the possibility of flash floods and tornadoes still presents a threat here. Southern Louisianans are assessing the damage caused by Hurricane Andrew, both in property as well as in injuries and loss of life. The town of Laplace got a double dose of trouble. Hurricane Andrew coming through spawned tornadoes. One man here was killed when his house collapsed on top of him. In nearby Lake Charles, residents thought they heard a tornado too, but it turned out to be the awesome power of the hurricane, one they won't soon forget.
It's as scary as I've ever been. The only hurricane I can remember before this one was Hurricane Danny and Hurricane Coleman. That was the only two I can remember. But this one here, to me, was the worst one ever.
The wrath of Hurricane Andrew was evident mile after mile. Businesses were heavily damaged. In several towns, roofs were literally peeled off homes by the terrific force. Mobile homes parked in the bayou country suffered the most, it seems. One family said they didn't know what they were up against.
Just black new things and all, and we strapped the trailer down as good as we could, but it's still blown half of it away.
Late this afternoon, President Bush came to survey the stricken area. The damage here, combined with the devastation in Miami, makes Hurricane Andrew the costliest natural disaster in American history. Those coming back here tonight are finding themselves without electricity and water. Some of those people are also finding out that it may be up to 3 weeks before their utilities are back to normal. Reporting live from Lafayette, Louisiana, I'm Toria Tully.
Toria, last night we had the chance to talk to you, and you said you were going to ride out this storm. Could you give us a personal observation of what it was like going through it?
Actually, I must admit it was a bit of a relief, because it did not turn out where we were in Abbeville. It did not hit as hard. It had lost some of its energy and the gusty winds, that sort of thing. By the time it got to Abbeville, it did stay pretty consistent for about 3 hours. We expected to see signs blowing past us and cars overturned and buildings shaking. Instead, we did get quite a lot of rain, quite a lot of high winds. We saw some windows smashed, but we luckily were not in the direct path of where most of the damage occurred. So this morning I was very relieved, tired, wet, and relieved.
I can imagine. Thank you. Toria Tully reporting live for us tonight from Lafayette, Louisiana. The situation in Florida is still far from normal. Water, food, and electricity are all in short supply. Brian Cabell has the latest from there.
It was a phenomenon long feared and long expected in South Florida, a monster hurricane slamming into this highly populated area. The preliminary toll is now coming in. Deaths perhaps are lower than expected, but the damage estimate is $15 to $20 billion. 60,000 homes are now said to be uninhabitable. More than a dozen shelters are still open, housing 35,000 people. Thousands of others are staying with relatives. Florida Power and Light reports 600,000 customers, that's homes and businesses, are still without electricity. But some customers in the most damaged areas may be in the dark for months, even years. Roads have been cleared remarkably quickly of trees and debris, but traffic lines, mostly returning residents, have become unmanageable at times. Tempers are short, lines are long, but gas stations are slowly reopening after a 3-day hiatus. Water is still at a premium, lines were cut, but regular distribution points have been set up. Most hospitals are operating, though 2 were severely damaged. The Miami airport, which normally handles 1,300 flights a day, is now operating on a limited basis. Many flights have been canceled. No postal service yet. In fact, some postal trucks are hauling fallen trees. Schools are scheduled to open next week. Brian Cabell, CNN, Miami.
Well, let's check now what's happening with Andrew. An update now from Lloyd Lindsay Young.
Thank you very much, Roland. Here is the latest satellite photo of now tropical storm Andrew. Peak winds 50 miles an hour. The center is about 15 miles southwest of Natchez, Mississippi. The problem tonight, major flooding, tornadoes all over the place, and very heavy rain. Later in the broadcast, I'll tell you how Andrew will affect us. Roland?
Okay, Lloyd, thank you. And tonight in
But relieved travelers returned home to Union City from a ravaged Miami. They had witnessed firsthand the destruction of Hurricane Andrew.
Everything's totally demolished. Everything's, there's no water, there's no light.
The message these people bring back from Miami is that the victims of the hurricane need help.
Anything they can get together, clothes, food, any help, I think they will appreciate it.
Local relief efforts among Union City's large Cuban-American community are getting underway. Many here have family and friends throughout southern Florida, and they're figuring out the best way to help.
They are losing money, everybody, you know, because of the food and the refrigerators are going to be a problem with.
Union City Mayor Robert Menendez has been in touch with Miami City Hall to establish what is needed most.
And the main items that she said that were needed were bottled water, flashlights, batteries, because they expect electricity to be out for several weeks, and powdered milk.
The Kiwanis Club statewide are starting a fundraising drive, and not just among Latino members.
Also, the Anglo community is very large in there and has been retired from here and be living now in Miami. They still have a ties in here in New Jersey.
Tomorrow morning at 10:30 at City Hall, Mayor Menendez will convene civic and religious leaders to get their relief effort into high gear. In Union City, Chris O'Donoghue, Channel 9 News.
Well, tonight a newer cop escaped serious injury, and police